ways. The train derailed at King's Cross station continues to cause problems. Railtrack said services won't return to normal until tomorrow. 4 people were hurt when the train jumped the rails last night. It's now in a depot for damage to be assessed. The Surrey woman who disappeared without a trace from a family party has been found dead in a field. A post-mortem examination has revealed she died from hypothermia. Sharon Hammond disappeared 6 days ago after walking out of a restaurant at Chobham in Surrey. She'd been suffering from depression. Louise Bevan reports.
It was the moment her family had dreaded. After 6 days of waiting for news, their worst fears were confirmed. Sharon Hammond's body was found at lunchtime today, just a short distance from Ottershaw, the village she was last seen heading towards on Friday evening, a sighting revealed by police just an hour earlier.
We are able to confirm 2 sightings of a woman we believe to be Mrs. Hammond, who was walking along the A319 Chertsey Road towards a village called Ottershaw.
Mrs. Hammond's husband Colin had also appeared before the cameras this morning to make an appeal for help.
She has suffered from depression for several years and she had been low for a couple of days.
But moments after the news conference ended, Mrs. Hammond's body was found on nursery land near Ottershaw by a man out walking. Police are now trying to establish how Mrs. Hammond ended up here. This field is a good 3 miles from the restaurant in Chobham where she vanished last Friday. The chances are that she wandered here in a depressed state before collapsing in the cold. Until today, the only clue to her whereabouts had been one of her shoes, found on a cricket field behind the restaurant. Mrs. Hammond's body had no obvious signs of injury. Tonight, a post-mortem showed that she died from hypothermia. In Surrey, this is Louise Bevan for London Tonight.
Princess Diana arrived back from her Caribbean break this morning, and her first appointment was in North London with her therapist Susie Orbach. But she had nothing to say to the waiting media. However, she did receive an apology from Harvey Nichols today after she was secretly filmed on its surveillance cameras while shopping there. But the management at the Knightsbridge store also said it knew nothing of the film's existence until it was contacted by a national newspaper. Now, if you want to see just how much cash you could win in this weekend's record lottery draw, then look no further. TV presenter Anthea Turner showed the nation exactly what £60 million looks like today. That's Saturday's estimated total prize fund, including a £33 million jackpot. 80% of the population are expected to take part in this weekend's draw. And finally, the Prime Minister, John Major, has been blamed for a lot of things in his time, but the fortunes of a football club are surely beyond his control. Or maybe not. Vince Rogers explains.
Another ball goes into the back of Chelsea's net, and it's all John Major's fault. That's what some of the fans reckon anyway. The Prime Minister has been supporting Chelsea for about 40 years. But a couple of years ago, there appeared to be a run of bad luck. Whenever the PM was in the crowd, the Blues seemed to lose.
Chelsea fans are very superstitious, and there was talk going around a few years ago that every time John Major was to attend a game, Chelsea didn't play terribly well. When they got to the cup final against Manchester United, John Major purposely avoided a couple of the important games because he didn't want to be a jinx to the club, so there's an element of truth in it.
Number 10 says John Major hasn't been to a Chelsea match for 2 years because he's been too busy. But Labour MP Tony Banks is also a Chelsea man, and the PM told him personally that he knows all about the jinx and is deliberately staying away to help the Blues win.
Well, it's about the only time I felt sorry for the Prime Minister. He's a good Chelsea supporter, and he had a run of turning up at Stamford Bridge, which coincided with a very bad run that Chelsea was having. And of course, because everyone saw him there and football fans are superstitious, they were saying, stay away, John Major, because you're causing us to lose. I don't think it really was his fault, personally.
But is John Major such bad news for Chelsea?
I don't think so for a single moment. Somebody's been having a go at him, I think, and trying to undermine him. In practice, I think he'd be very good for Chelsea Football Club because he's a winner.
On Sunday, Chelsea have a big match against Newcastle in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. Many fans are hoping that John Major doesn't turn up. This is Vince Rogers for London Tonight.
And that's our late news. I'll see you tomorrow evening at 6:30 in London Tonight. Until then, bye-bye.
Carlton Weather, sponsored by First Choice Holidays, for a brighter outlook. Hello there once again. Well, there's certainly some rain around at the moment, but it ought to fade away by morning. Temperatures, no problems whatsoever. That wind remains fairly stiff from the southeast. On to tomorrow morning, we do so on a dry note with some brightness around, cloudy skies as well. Then during the course of the afternoon, well, that cloud starts piling up to the west of the region, and we're bound to see some rainfall by evening. Temperatures a shade higher than today's, 9 or 48 in Fahrenheit. Now a very quick look ahead to the weekend. Not the very best of weekends ahead of us, I'm afraid. Wet on Saturday, cloudy skies, brighter on Sunday, wet again on Monday, and that's about the sum of it. I leave you with our weather summary.
For a detailed forecast, call Weather Update, sponsored by First Choice Holidays on 0891 11 0000.
Hollywood as you've never seen it before, in lights, camera, action! In a major new series, the movie makers tell it like it is.
You can be a great actor, but it doesn't mean to say you're going to be a movie star.
The people that I played on the screen, they have been me.
Meet the stars and the star makers.
So long as there is cinema, there will be stars.
Join Michael Aspel for Lights, Camera, Action, a new series starting Sunday on LWT.
The streets are a deadly place for the ladies of the night.
You should never have been on lane in the first place.
Band of Gold, Monday at 10:40 on Carlton.
We're live from the Lilydrome tonight at 12:30. But now the start of a Jackie Collins mini-series, Lady Boss.